Good morning. Welcome to your Friday early morning intuitive guidance. Yes, it's Friday. We have made it. Welcome, welcome. I'm sure everybody will start rolling in shortly. We have a card from the Virtues Reflection card deck today, which I always love those cards. Gives us lots of ideas for a virtue to cultivate. Good morning, Beth. You're the first one here today. Welcome, welcome. And also, has so many wonderful I statements. Good morning, Abigail. Welcome. That we can't help but find something we want to focus on for the day. So, let us begin, as we usually do, with some breath and some tapping. Pick your spot. I'm going to go back to my favorite spot. And as the practical rebels start rolling in, there's Nancy. Thank you for the Christmas trees. And Gwen, good morning, good morning. We're just going to start with some tapping. Just jumped on from the Sioux. Fabulous. How much snow do you have there? I was hearing that, was it Houghton? Somewhere way up there had 40 inches, 30 of which arrived in one fell swoop. Yeah, and we're complaining about 6. Nonetheless. So, tapping, and some breath. In through the nose. Good morning, Miss Joniel. Out through the mouth. Glad you're all here. My practical rebels in the house. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So, glad we're all here. Hope everybody's staying warm. Yes. Well, and what is unusual about that? Nothing, right? Yeah, because my dad was complaining about our 6 inches of snow, and so I pointed out to him that the Keweenaw, etc., was full. Well, and when you have places that up there that get over 300 inches of snow a year, yeah. But this will be good for our water table, right? Good morning, Barb. Welcome. Here they were saying that, I was on a call for the one of the housing groups I'm sitting on, and they were saying that they've utilized way more of their resources already this year for people who are unhoused because of the snow and the cold than a typical December in recent years. And I'm like, yeah, well, people are going to have to cough up some money to make things happen then. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, Virtues Reflection cards by the Virtues Project, a set of 100 contemplative cards to help you awaken your spirit and live by your deeper values. And that's one of the things that I like about doing these YEMIGs every morning is it's a little reset, because we can erode over time. If we're dealing with a bunch of, I was reading a book last night. I had picked up 2 books on caregiving at the local AAUW book sale. And for those unfamiliar, that's University Women. And the one book was more of a, here's some tips and tricks, and the other book is more people's stories of being caregivers, mainly for people with dementia. And over and over and over, I was reading, this is my 16th year, this is my 18th year, this is my 14th year of caregiving for someone with dementia. Oof. Because when I read, or when I heard, it was in a talk, someone saying 10 years of caregiving, I burst into tears. I was like, I cannot do this for 10 years. So that's when I finally got a clue. You have to call in more troops. You need assistance here. This is not a one-person slog. So, yeah. So, our card for today, beautiful card, Openness. And look at that pristine water. Isn't that lovely? Good morning, Mel. There's our practical rebel in the house. Good. Openness. Let's take another breath. Let it go. Oh, isn't that nice to drop your shoulders? I've been rather tight lately because one never knows when my father's going to put his coat on and think he needs to go out and deal with snow. So most of it was dealt with, but he felt he needed to unbury his truck, but at least he did it without falling this time. So, yeah. Openness. All right, let's see what it says. Openness is being honest, clear, and sincere. Sharing who we are and what we feel without pretense. It is a willingness to consider new ideas and listen to others with an open mind. So I have to share a story with you. Yesterday, I feel like I did that really well. Really well. I met with a man who, God knows why he took this on, but he did, is taking suggestions from a bunch of us, putting together a brochure. Well, it's much bigger than a brochure. It's probably going to be like a booklet, I would say. And it's going to be given out to 100 area churches with resources in it discussing housing. Resources for when people approach them with needs for housing, and resources if they have teams or groups of parishioners who want to assist with the housing issues that we all have. We all have. There's not enough housing pretty much anywhere. So he has taken on this Herculean task, and he and I got together and spent 2 hours going over the rough draft of the booklet, and we had some different ideas. And so I think we did a great job, both of us, of listening to each other's ideas and hearing the rationale behind each other's ideas. And at one point he sat back in his chair and he said, I'm not going to please everybody because I have those who are telling me make it longer, and now you're telling me make it shorter. And he said, but you're the leader, so I'll listen to you. And I'm like, no, let's talk this through in terms of what are the people who are saying make it longer using as their rationale for wanting it to be longer. And so we talked about that. And I think basically what it is they're wanting it to be as thorough as possible so people have access to as much of the information as possible, because until you're faced with someone who has a housing need, you don't know what you don't know in terms of where do I even go to find information here. But my thing was, if it's too long, they're not going to read it anyway. And as soon as you hand it to them, the information's out of date anyway. So in the beginning, and we're hoping we can house a digital version on one particular group's website, because most people go to that particular group for a lot of guidance anyway. That seems like the perfect place to host it. So we'll see if they're willing. But I'm just thinking the book could be relatively easy, and most people have a computer and can go online. And if they don't and they've arrived at the church has computers and they can go online and get some information printed off for them. But I thought we did a great job of hearing each other's rationale, and oftentimes I deferred to him. He's the one doing the book. So whatever you think, go for it. So that was really a lovely collaborative practice. Yeah. We reveal our thought. This one struck me. Let me know. I do the opposite of this all the time. Let's see what you think. We reveal our thoughts candidly without attempting to manage the response of others. I couch my words very carefully in terms of how I think that person is most likely to receive it. Especially at home. So, but obviously, there's something to be said for being able to be candid, and I tend to be known as pretty candid, but without attempting to manage the responses of others. Interesting, yeah. We hold no hidden agendas. We are more interested in connecting than controlling. Try that with a person with dementia. We are more interested in connecting than controlling. We listen to others' feelings with compassionate curiosity. And I so appreciate when I'm with my people who talk in terms of feelings. There are a whole lot of people who just don't traffic in feelings. And that, for me, makes for a very difficult discussion because the four-letter F word, feel, all over the place here. So, yeah. So I'm having coffee with one of my dear friends, Janice, and she'll go there. So we'll have a great conversation, I'm sure. When we are open, we are receptive to the blessings and surprises of life. We are open to the blessings and surprises of life. So imagine that. Something begins to unfold, and the old you would instantly have thought, uh-oh, here we go. This is going to be bad, blah, blah, blah. The new you goes, oh, I wonder how this is going to unfold. I wonder what gifts are in here for me, even if it seems like it's not a good thing. Let's say you had a fender bender. I wonder what gifts are in here for me. Wouldn't that be a very interesting approach to take to that kind of stuff? So the quote is from Jack Kornfield, a book called A Path with Heart. To open deeply, as genuine spiritual life requires, we need tremendous courage and strength, a kind of warrior spirit. And don't let that word spiritual shut you down. If you are in recovery from what my friend Flo, who's 82, calls churchianity, think in terms of connection to all that is. Connection to all that is. Connection to the divine, the sacredness of all existence, etc. Think of it from that perspective. To open deeply, as genuine spiritual life requires, we need tremendous courage and strength, a kind of warrior spirit. The practice of openness. Now, here are the I statements. Again, pick out which one moves you to work with. It might be one that resonates with you because you've already worked on that. It might be something where you're thinking, I need work on that. Whatever it is, if there's one that grabs you, put it in the feed. I am honest and transparent. I am honest and transparent. I am direct and candid in sharing my perspective. I am direct and candid in sharing my perspective. Now, is everybody going to appreciate that? No. Does that have to matter to you? No. Direct and candid. I appreciate new ideas and possibilities. This can be so helpful, excuse me, for those of us who've been around the block a few times and kind of get locked in that, we already tried that, it didn't work, or that's not how we've done it before, or those kinds of comments. I appreciate new ideas and possibilities. I sincerely want to communicate. I sincerely want to communicate. I have no hidden motives. I have no hidden motives. That one I think could be a sneaky one to really do the deep dive on. And I think that would be one of those asymptotic kinds of things. We approach it, but we never arrive. That would be my guess on that one. I have no hidden motives. Yeah. I care about the views and feelings of others. I care about the views and feelings of others. I am willing to receive life's bounties. There's that worthiness thing again. I am willing to receive life's bounties. And when you have that one on board, when you look around, you are going to see life's bounties. When you don't have that one on board, what are you going to see? A lot of scarcity, probably. I am willing to receive life's bounties. Last one, I am thankful for the gift of openness. It frees me to be myself. I am thankful for the gift of openness. It frees me to be myself. So there's our beautiful picture again. It's funny because my sister was looking yesterday at a lot of very usually warm places and weren't anything too warm. Most of them were in the low 70s. So we can enjoy it in the picture. Of course, for me, the low 70s would be absolutely perfect. You start climbing into the 80s and 90s, especially if there's humidity. I'm not a happy girl. So that is our card for today. How will you take openness to heart? And how will you demonstrate it in your world today? So I can practice when I'm seeing my friend. And after that, I'm going to do a drive-by at a church that I just heard of yesterday. I actually heard of 2 churches that have land that they're considering doing something with. And I want to do a drive-by and see if maybe one of them would be a good fit for my little pocket neighborhood. So that's on my agenda today. Love to hear what's on your agenda. Put it in the feed. We'll see what we're all up to on this fine Friday. Have an awesome day, my practical rebels. Remember that you are capable of far more than you think you are. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.